As we witness the horrors of war in Ukraine, we are left wondering where all of this is going. On this channel, we're focusing on the economic impact of the war in Ukraine. And in today's video, we're going to track how the U.S. economy is being impacted and what we could be in for down the road. Let's get into it. Today, we're continuing our analysis of the economic impact of the war in Ukraine, and the impacts are not insignificant, as both Russia and Ukraine are major exporters of critical commodities like oil, wheat, and others. In our last video on the topic, the war had not broken out yet, and now that it has, we're going to look at what has happened so far in commodity markets and what that could mean for the U.S. economy going forward. If you're new to this channel, my name is Eric and I'm a professional private sector economist. On this channel, I focus on forward-looking economic analysis to try to spot the incoming trends, like the high inflation we're experiencing now that I started talking about more than a year ago, before the mainstream even had a clue it was on the way. Let's get right into our analysis today, starting with oil. Since the conflict began with Russia's recognition of the breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine on February 21st, West Texas Intermediate crude, which is the U.S. benchmark, increased by 22% through March 22nd. Now, while 22% is a strong percentage increase in roughly a month, at its worst, oil prices were up about 36% since just before the conflict began. On a historical basis, the recent peak price of $123 was coming close to the all-time record high of $145 set back in July of 2008. Switching gears to the food commodities, wheat prices have seen a surge of 34% from February 21st through March 22nd. Like oil, prices have come down a bit from their peak, and at their highest were up almost 50% in just a few weeks. On a historical basis, wheat got even closer to its previous all-time high in March of 2008. These two commodities, oil and wheat, are not the only commodities that have seen big price increases as a result of the invasion, but they are some of the most consequential. There are few people who have not noticed the recent surge in gasoline prices since Russia invaded, and if it keeps going up, some people are going to have a hard choice if they should even commute to work if the cost of transportation is higher than the wage they can receive from a day's work. And wheat is an ingredient in so many things we purchase from the grocery store, and it's only a matter of time before we see upward pressure on food prices at the store because of this. It has barely been a month since Russia invaded Ukraine, and a lot of the damage from these higher commodity prices are yet to come. We'll be watching the economic data closely as it comes out to gauge the impact and see where the trends are heading. Soft data, things like consumer sentiment and purchasing managers' indexes, as well as hard data like consumer spending and manufacturers' orders and shipments, will start to give us some clues over the next month or two as to how this will hit us in the short term. Ultimately, this is going to push inflation higher, even as the Federal Reserve begun their attempt to rein in what they now admit has gotten out of hand. In future videos, we're going to be looking at just how high these prices could go and what that will mean for other goods and services in the economy. And if you're asking yourself what you can do about it, check out our playlist on investing during high inflation, because that is precisely the environment we find ourselves in now and in the future. I'm still working on more videos for that series, so there will be more coming. But check out what we have so far to get you thinking about how you can protect your purchasing power as we see prices rising across almost all goods and services. If you want to know when our next video on the economic impact of the war in Ukraine comes out, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell down below so you know right away when that video and others comes out. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.